Okay, so as we move on to the next section, we're looking at the question, is revelation the disclosure of something otherwise unknown? When we're thinking about revelation in any of the forms that we've looked at, so whether it's an act from God revealing, or whether it's content, the thing that is revealed, or whether it's an experience of me having the revelation, does that have to be something that was unknown before, something that was a mystery, that was secret, something that you would not have any other way of knowing if it were not for the revelation? So that's the question that we're going to look at. So some important words to look at are these. The most important one when we think of the word revelation is going to be the Greek word apocalypsis, which does have the sense of uncovering something that was hidden. An important concept to know is that there's the etymology of the word, which has to do with like the root of the word and what it means and meaning that's carried by the family of words. So there's that kind of relationship that it's inherited. But that is not a reliable way to do things. So just because you look at the word and you might say that the root of it has to do with uncovering, that doesn't necessarily mean that this specific word is going to carry that meaning. And we have words like this even in English. If you think of the word butterfly, or the animal, it is definitely like inherited a word from somewhere. But it doesn't have anything to do with butter. So it's not reliable, and you can't rely on that etymology. And looking at the other words, you have Greek words like Phaneroo or Gnorizo, and these ones don't carry that idea of uncovering. You also have the Old Testament word Galah, which is from the Aramaic. So let's look at a couple of different verses that show this, because there are plenty of places where these verses do carry a sense of having something secret that's being revealed. So you've got Deuteronomy 29, verse 29. The hidden things belong to Yahweh, our God, but the revealed things belong to us. And revealed is that word Galah there. So again, this has to do with something that was hidden. We could also go and look at 1 Samuel 14:11. So the two of them showed themselves to the garrison of the Philistines. The Philistines said, the Hebrews are coming out from the holes in which they have hidden themselves. So here, this is sort of revealing, they're showing, uncovering themselves. Galah is that word. We can look at Proverbs 20:19. We see some different kind of literature here in the Proverbs. He reveals the secret, he who walks about with gossip, and do not associate with a babbler's lips. Idea of something secret there. We can go to the prophets. So Amos 3:7. Surely my Lord does not do anything unless he has revealed his secret to his servant, the prophets. Daniel 2:28 has also got one here. There's a God in heaven who reveals mysteries. I didn't have this one highlighted, but this is the same family, Galah, who reveals mysteries, and he has made known to King Nebuchadnezzar what it is that will be at the end of days. Talking about the dream. So, the secret here. We can skip forward to, so that's all the word Galah from the Old Testament. We can skip to the New Testament and look at like Matthew 11:25. Jesus answered and said, I praise you, Father, Lord of heaven and earth, because you have hidden these things from the wise and intelligent and have revealed them to young children. This is the word apocalypto. Apocalypsis. Apocalypto is the lemma here from looking at it in the Logos. And he talks to anyone to whom the Son wants to reveal him. And again, that word apocalypto. So that's got the secret being revealed. We can also look at Luke 12:2. Nothing is concealed that will not be apocalypticitai, but the same family, apocalypto, and secret that will not be made known. If we go to Colossians 1:26, the mystery which has been hidden from the ages and from the generations, but has now been revealed to his saints. This is the word Phaneroo, reveal, or make clear. It's now been revealed to his saints, to whom God wanted to make known what is the glorious wealth of this mystery among the Gentiles. This made known is the word Gnorizo. Look at Ephesians 3, verse 4 and on. Paul talking here. Paul, a prisoner of Christ, is introducing himself. If indeed you'd heard about the stewardship of God's grace given to me for you, according to a revelation, Apocalypsis, the mystery was made known. Gnorizo. I can't pronounce the specific manuscript word. Just as I wrote beforehand in brief, so that you may be able, when you read, to understand my insight into the mysteries of Christ, into the mystery of Christ, which in other generations was not made known, Gnorizo, to the sons of men, as it has now been revealed, Apocalypto, to his holy apostles and prophets by the Spirit. So I think that's sufficient. Definitely, we can see that these words they definitely get used in this secret sense of something that was a mystery, something that was known only to God, but which he's revealed. So they can carry the meaning of something that was hidden or secret or known only to God. But there does come a problem, because if you take this as the only meaning, that these words have to involve there being a secret, something that only God could know, then you've got the issue of large parts of the Bible where there's information that you can't say was hidden. It's things that would have been general knowledge, something that people were able to work or to find out, creative acts of people. You've got all sorts of different literature in the Bible. Not all of it is a secret. One good example of this would be like in the New Testament. You've got the Gospels, and then also Acts. So you've got Luke, and Luke writes the Gospel of Luke, and he also writes Acts as kind of this two-part works, and addresses it to Theophilus, his patron. And this is Luke going around and interviewing eyewitnesses, people who had seen these things. He's doing research. He's compiling these accounts and these stories, all the information that he can, and he's putting that together into this Greek biography to be able to share. And so that's something that Luke just didn't work on, that God guided him to do this work and to compose this gospel and Acts. But we can't say that that was something that was secret, that it was unknowable. Lots of people knew it, and Luke was able to interview and compile and find that out. So in the sense of something that was completely hidden and unknowable, secret only to God, you can't say that that falls into that category. So our understanding of these words of Revelation does have to be a little bit broader than something that is unknown. So in the Systematic Theology, Craig has a line here that he includes mentioning Wolfhart, Pannenberg, which I believe was who Craig had studied under when he was in Munich. Wolfhart, Pannenberg, German Lutheran theologian. It says here that in Pannenberg's Systematic Theology, Pannenberg observes that virtually all biblical revelations imply some prior knowledge of the God who reveals. So the reason that he mentions this is because you might say, for the Gospels of Jesus, that, yes, there's things that they could have known and discovered for themselves, but there are maybe pieces of it that they could not have known. Or when you have, an angel coming and bringing some revelation to someone, so that there are pieces, and maybe those pieces of revelation, and maybe if you have some pieces that are secret or hidden or unknown, that maybe that would make the whole work then count for it, even if the work has some pieces which do include prior knowledge. And that is a little bit of what Pannenberg is mentioning here. Everything is going to have some prior knowledge, because even if you think of something that like an angel or that God would say directly. They are still communicating a message that is in a context. It's for that person, and it's going to involve that person's knowledge of like their life in the world and their circumstances to apply what's been told to them. And so you get into this spot where, like, even if you're going to say that if it has some secret to it, then maybe we count the whole, because there is this involvement of things that do require prior knowledge, then you can get into a spot where revelation then becomes person relative. And so what might be a revelation for one person, something that they didn't know, it may not be for another person. That person might have a different set of information, things that they have knowledge of. George Mavrodes has got this formula for revelation, this schema for revelation. And it says that M reveals A to N by means of K at a time T and a location L. And so this formula, M is going to be the revealer. So that could be God revealing to A. A is the content here, what God is revealing, to N, an individual. By means of K, some circumstances or happenings at some time and location. So Mavrodes, if you'll remember earlier, he was an example of someone who would consider revelation to just be a personal experience, something that happens to you, that it's not God acting and it's not the content itself. So it's not revelation in this schema is not M, what M does, and it's not the content here. Revelation is that it is revealed to this individual. Someone is revealing this content to this individual, and it's this individual's receiving of it through these means here. That's what makes it a revelation. And so he's making this argument to show that revelation is a subjective experience. But Craig points out in here that even if that were so, that does not necessitate that A, the content here, has to be a secret from everybody. It might be a secret to N, this individual, and so it's a revelation to them, but perhaps someone else knew this. So for the instance of like Luke writing Luke and Acts, it may have been hidden information and thus a revelation when his patron Theophilus receives this. It's a revelation to Theophilus to get this information, but that it wouldn't be a revelation to Luke or to eyewitnesses or anybody else who knew about these things. And so that's what goes back to our main point. Does it require that it be about disclosing something that's otherwise unknown? And Mavrodes' formula would not necessitate that it be something that's wholly unknown to mankind. So even if a revelation is person relative, that doesn't mean that the content has to have been a secret. So now we're going to go back and look at some more verses here, because just as we looked at verses that can show that revelation can entail something that was hidden or a secret, there's also plenty of examples of that not being the case. So we could go and look at Esther 3:14. That a copy of the edict was presented as law in every province, making it known, this is that Old Testament word Galah, to all the people to be ready for that day. So this is something that would be news to these people, but this is not revelation to the king or to whoever wrote the edict, or this is not a secret to them. If we skip over to Psalms 119:18. Deal bountifully with your servant, uncover my eyes that I may look at wonderful things from your law. So this might be things in the law that the person writing this psalm that they had not been aware of or meditated on before, but that doesn't mean that other people can't have. Isaiah 56:1, observe justice and do righteousness, for my salvation is close to coming, and my justice to being revealed. So this justice might be revealed to whoever the justice is coming upon, but it might be known to the prophet. There are others who could know that justice is coming, that it's deserved. Jeremiah 32:10. Then I took the deed of purchase, the sealed copy containing the commandments and the rules, together with the one that was open, uncovered or revealed, and I gave the deed of the purchase to Baruch the son of Neriah, the son of Messiah. So he's talking about a transaction here, but this is just something that was known. This is not something that's involving a secret, or that it's a secret to everybody. We can skip to the New Testament, to Romans 1:18. The wrath of God is revealed, apocalypto, from heaven against all in impiety and unrighteousness, people who suppress the truth and unrighteousness, because what can be known about God is evident among them. For God made it clear, Phaneroo. So again, this is not a secret. This is something that is being argued is evident in creation, that they could know this, but that they refused to. 1 Peter 1:7. So that the genuineness of your faith, more valuable than gold that is passing away, but is tested by fire, may be found to result in praise and glory and honor at the revelation of Jesus Christ. So revelation of Jesus Christ is Apocalypsis, but this is looking forward to when Christ is revealed. Now, everybody knows that Christ is going to be revealed, so that it's not a secret that he will be revealed. John 9:3. Jesus replied, "Neither this man sinned nor his parents, but it happened so that the works of God could be revealed in him." Phaneroo, revealed. And so this is God doing an act that God wants to show his power through this man's life. There's no revealing of a secret in this context. Acts 4:16. Saying, "What shall we do with these men? For that a remarkable sign has taken place through them is evident, Phaneros, to all those who live in Jerusalem, and we are not able to deny it." So this is specifically saying that there is no secret, that everybody who's in Jerusalem, it's evident to them. They all can know this. It's been revealed. But this is not something that was hidden or that was a secret. Philippians 4:6, "Be anxious for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication, with thanksgiving let your requests be made known to God." Gnorizo, so the word made known here. So we're certainly not revealing something that God didn't know when we're making prayers and supplications to him. God knows everything. So this doesn't necessitate that these prayers be a secret. So then, wrapping up, looking at these verses, it's pretty clear that even though these words may carry the sense of a secret, it doesn't necessitate that they carry the idea of a secret. Craig notes at the end of this section, he says, even in English, our word reveal or revelation doesn't have to involve a secret. And you can definitely have idiomatic sentences like, "The president revealed his Supreme Court nominee in the Rose Garden ceremony, even though everyone knew it was Amy Barrett." Seems perfectly possible. So even in English, we can have sentences where you can be revealing something, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a secret to people involved. I know that's a lot for something that seems like a simple question, but I really enjoyed reading through this part. I think it makes me think deeper about what I mean when I'm using that word, revelation, just like in talking about the senses. There's a lot of things that we might take for granted that it's going to involve a secret or that it might have like some attribute to it. So really working through these attributes and understanding, what do you mean when you say this? What is involved when you're talking about this term? That's important to lay the groundwork so that then you can have more conversations about what revelation and what scripture are.